Okay, we're back. I was interrupted mid-podcast recording by a phone call from my sister. I wasn't sure if it was going to record and just keep going and we're going to roll through it and capture that content, but I don't believe that it did. I think what happens is, because I'm recording from the same device that I would use ostensibly to listen to a phone call, that whenever I accept the call, it shuts off the recording and kicks it over to telephone. Imagine that. I still use my phone to make an audio call. What percentage of phones are used in that fashion? I bet it's less than 40%. Yeah, that might be low. I'm just saying there's a lot of different tools, right? FaceTime, texting. I would say the majority of my communication is not real-time audio. You know what else is big now? The kids, dude. I saw my niece doing this the other day. They're recording little audio clips and sending them to each other back and forth. That's instead of texting. That's an alternative to texting. I find that kind of fascinating. It's an alternative to just picking up the phone and dialing someone and talking to them in real time. But I guess they what's nuts about it is, I was like watching my niece listen to, it must have been like a 3 to 4 minute clip. I was like, what's going on? Are you watching a video? Are you listening? Is this like an archived thing that someone recorded for you hours ago? No, she's there. It just gives us time to process our ideas and communicate without interrupting each other. I don't know, she kind of explained it to me in a way that makes sense to her, but completely over my head. Whatever, man. Communication, doesn't matter. You think I'm going to judge that? Oh yeah. I'm going to come down on her. Don't do that. You got to be better than that. You got to pick up the phone. And no, it doesn't matter what I think. It doesn't matter what you think. All we want to do is judge. Oh, that's stupid. These kids are dumb. They don't like to talk face to face. Who cares? It's not my business. All right. Now, I definitely think in the world there are implications in that when that generation kind of eases into the workforce, they have different communications preferences. I see that right now with some of my younger colleagues who don't like email. I'm like, how could you not like email? I grew up with email, therefore I have a natural bias towards email. I'm very responsive to email. I open and read and reply to every email, almost without fail. If someone emails me, they're going to get a response, dude. I consider that pride. That's how I react, especially in a work setting. Give me a break. But I think a lot of people, they don't even check their email once a week. Like, what are you smoking? What crack and hash combination are you stuffing in that pipe, son? You got to get off it. Wake up. Anyway, what's the point? Oh, I was interrupted by that call from my sister, which is fine. I'll take a call from my family over anything, anytime, anywhere. Priority number uno is the familia. But I think I was talking about Einstein, Dr. Einstein's theory. It was more like a statement that's been attributed to him. If you're going to do something a million ways at the same time, I want to make a fun little nugget. It's almost like a great stand-up bit. It's like Dr. Einstein said, you can do things a million times over and over again and drive yourself insane. Or you can try something new to break up the patterns. And the ghost of Einstein comes down. He's very upset. Like, that's not what I said. And then there's a debate about whether he was even the originator of that statement to begin with. Because at some point, someone had to attribute him to that. Unless he's on the record having said the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. That might exist somewhere if he gave a commencement address or wrote it down as a first-hand source. I doubt that exists. Now what we have is the source of truth. Google and increasingly AI bots like ChatGPT, large language models or whatever they're called. You have to verify that information. If I'm going to ask ChatGPT where'd this statement come from, it's going to tell me something, and then it might just have a lore or a mythology to it. But who decides what's factual, what's real? I don't even know. I don't know, man. But the point is, I agree with that sentiment. So I need to change things up with my creative productivity, and that's starting ASAP. As I explained earlier, went through a process of aggregating my concepts, entering them into ChatGPT, getting some feedback, going back and forth a little bit like a little creative partner. And I honed in on 3 projects. And I'm kind of biting the bullet here because, man, it's hard for me to commit to 3 projects. I'm not even sure if they're the right 3 projects. I'd love your thoughts and feedback. If you have any, please hit me up. Raffity@gmail.com. There's also a phone number I set up, a Google voice line, the Raff's Brainiac brain line or something like that. I don't know the number off the top of my head, but if you look in the show notes, you could call and leave a message. And maybe I'd even play it in one of my future episodes. I don't know. No one's ever called the number so far. It might just be a desperate plea for attention that's going on unheeded. And that's okay with me. Actually, I don't necessarily even care what you think. Although I could value it. I mean, you are my quote-unquote audience, the tens of loyal listeners. If I did a poll and say 2 or 3 of you replied and said, hey, of these 30 projects, Raff, these are the ones I'd be most interested in seeing you execute, that would be like a little extra data point to throw into the mix. I can't imagine that it would dominate unless I said right now, just on a whim, hey, audience engagement. You reply to me, and one of the 3 projects that I focus on for the next 3 to 6 months will absolutely, without fail, be something that is most in demand from the brainiacs. I'm not saying I want to do that. I think that's risky from a creative standpoint to sort of just throw that open to the universe. But on the other hand, I love you guys. Obviously, if you listen to my show, you're invested in my success to an extent, or at least you're supporting me, or some way listening to me makes you feel better about yourself. So there's some value there. I should probably play into that a little bit, right? And then I could say like, okay, here are the 2 projects of the 3 that I selected in partnership with ChatGPT. Here's the 3rd project, which is like the crowdsourced priority. And I'm going to do that. And the bottom line is, I'm going to start using the show as maybe it's once a week. It'll be like updates on the priorities. And I'm going to go through, here are the 3 projects I'm working on. I'm really going to try my best to hone it down. I'm going to have to be very honest though. On the front of this, I may very well, there's always going to be a little risk and capability here. Raff's brain does not function well in tight constraints, like a straitjacket. I don't do it, you know? I need a little bit of room to wiggle and jive. So there might be an occasional divergence from those 3, but I want to be sharper. I want to be sharper. I want to really get some progress, measurable progress, and over a like defined time horizon. Make some commitments, push through, even at times when I'm not that interested in the project. I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to try to treat this creative output a little bit more like work. Like I'm going to block off hours of time every week for my creative focus. And I'm not just going to like wait for the muse to inspire me. I'm going to just sit down and start writing, start thinking, start acting, and just doing stuff and not just kind of being a lazy bones. So that's the plan. Real quick, the 3 projects. I'm not committed to this yet because, as I said, I would value feedback. If you have any thoughts, suggestions, ideas. What I should probably do is post the 25 or so projects in the show notes. If I can fit them in there, I don't know if it'll fit. There might be a character limit, but I'll do my best. I'll throw it in there. I'll do what I can, or maybe I'll make another episode with the 25. I'm making this up in real time, folks. Actually, let me do this. Let me make another episode this weekend. This is like all about content. It's also about procrastination, right? The more that I can just pontificate and contemplate and strategize which projects are going to be my top 3, that prevents me from actually taking action on doing anything, right? So let's just let this go for weeks on end. Classic Raffity. But yeah, let me do this. Let me not anchor you in the 3 that ChatGPT selected for me, although I'm already taking action on those 3. So in a sense, it's going to happen. It'd be very unlikely that I would jettison one of those 3, although it's possible. But what I'm going to do is I'll either make another episode or I'll put in the show notes that the 25 or 20 or however many of the kind of discrete projects existed that I was able to identify with ChatGPT. And if you have any thoughts on those, you can call the Raff's Brain hotline number in the show notes and leave a message, or just shoot me an email or a text message. Many of you know how to reach me. Let me know what you want me to work on or what you think would be interesting. And that could inform the mix of my priorities. But what ultimately is going to happen, where we're going to wrap this up here, what's going to happen, what is the commitment that I'm making in this episode of Walk and Talk, is I'm going to have 3 projects in the wheelhouse at any given time. And every week I'm going to be updating the audience on the progress I'm making or lack thereof. And when I don't make progress, I'm going to explain why, what are the barriers, what are the obstacles, what are the challenges. But I'm not going to just let that slide. I'm going to have some incentives. I don't know, we have to work it out, but the point is I do want to make measurable progress. I do want to actually see another Raff project to completion in my lifetime, which at the current pace just wasn't happening. So that's what's going to happen. Whew. Mayday. It's a thing. I'll say, in addition to all this, just as I'm wrapping up here, I am gonna start working more on my health and fitness. I have been getting a bit better in the cardio front. That's at a very early stage. It's unpleasant. I don't like it, but I realize it's essential. So I'm gonna buckle down and start doing it. What also must happen without fail, and I've said that many times, so the reality of me saying without fail is that doesn't have an impact on what happens. But I'll say it anyway, just to reinforce the idea of it. Without fail, my diet must improve immediately. If I want to make any progress on my health and weight, it's got to happen. Because you can't outrun a bad diet. I don't know who said that. Let's also ask ChatGPT who said that. So there's a couple things I'm doing here. Action items, baby. I'm going to list the 20 projects, or I'm going to do a show about it. Stay tuned, see what works best. Get your feedback on those. Hone in on the top 3 over the weekend and get cranking, dude. It's going to be awesome. Hold myself accountable. Thank you for helping me with that. On the health and wellness and fitness, I'm going to start tracking, as I have been, the weight every morning. And then really mapping out with intentionality my meal plan, my exercise plan, getting serious about the fact that you only have one body. You gotta treat it right. I've abused it for close to 50 years, and it's time to start getting serious so I don't suffer the consequences of my poor decisions down the line. That's gonna happen as well. All right. Feel like it's been a productive day. Raw dogged the 5K, got a call from my sister, got the episode of Walk and Talk wrapped up, got some calls tonight, some more creative juices flowing, good things are afoot. Let's keep going, keep it rolling. I hope you're all doing well in your world. Until next time, take it easy.